I'm a licensed master cosmetologist, and I specialize in natural hair and natural hair care. And by natural hair care, I also treat relaxed hair, but I use natural methods. In the salon, I use all types of products, but I also have the natural products to cater for people who have allergies to sometimes the commercial products, and also I deal with a lot of natural women who are recovering from breast cancer or any type of cancer who went through chemo and can't be exposed to certain things that are found in everyday products that are found on the shelves. And just a little history about myself. I have 8 years experience doing natural hair. It was kind of a hobby that I was pushed into the career. You know, I went to college and wanted to do a corporate thing, but my passion was with hair. So when I finished, it was either do my master's or go to cosmetology school. And I went to cosmetology school and I love it. And now I'm in training to be a cosmetology instructor because I want to add natural hair to the curriculum. When I was in school, natural hair was taught to be a problem. Curly hair is something that needs to be repaired. They only teach you how to straighten natural hair. They have natural hair mannequins that are only used for teaching how to do relaxers. They never teach you how to comb, detangle, how to solve dryness or any of these things. And I'm seeing this reflected in front of the black salons. I went to a lot of salons and I was turned away. I've been natural since 2002. I went to salons and was turned away because they didn't know how to do my kind of hair. The only thing they knew how to do was relax it, and I felt like that was kind of odd, being that most African American hair is this way before it's relaxed, so we should know how to treat both, like I said, because some people just prefer not to have chemicals or they really just can't be exposed to chemicals. So this brings me to, I did a lot of trial and error, because you buy things on the shelf and they say, oh, there's olive oil in it, shea butter in it, argan oil in it. You read the ingredients, those things aren't really in there. And you're using it and you're not getting the results that you think you should get. It's basically a bunch of fillers, a bunch of alcohol, Vaseline with a little fragrance put in it, because it's the packaging of things that sells it. If there was something really good in a black bottle with no label, people wouldn't look at it. They want the flash and glamour. So I had to figure out a way to get the results I wanted without having to buy every product on the shelf, because we're basically like guinea pigs to the hair care industry. They know anything that they market to us, we'll try it because we're looking for a remedy to our hair, which is taught to us to be a problem, and that's not the case. So through my trial and error and spending a lot of money at the natural grocery store, found some things that I found to be better than anything I could purchase on the shelves. And as you can see, I have the cottony texture hair that requires a lot of moisture, only because my curl pattern is so small, oils can't distribute evenly through it, so I have to maintain the moisture daily, as a lot of naturals know. The first product I would like to talk about is aloe. Aloe gel is good for your skin and for your scalp. I consider skin and scalp the same thing, because you have to treat, every day you put lotion on your skin or some type of oil to moisturize it. The same with your hair and skin, because they're made of the same protein, except your hair is a thinner version of your skin. Aloe is excellent for treating dandruff. It has great rapid skin healing properties, which is why they say use it to treat sunburn and things like that. So imagine if it's good for such a drastic damage as sunburn, what it can do just for something as simple as dandruff. It helps stabilize the pH of your scalp. And as you know, there's a pH scale that goes from 0 to 14. The 0 end being acidity, the 14 end being alkaline. Our natural pH is supposed to be between 4.5 and 5.5. But a lot of us are more towards the acidic level, almost like a 3 towards a low 4. So, and that's from using strong detergents in our shampoos and things like that. The hard water, just being exposed to the environment, period, is going to make your hair a little more acidic. So you can balance your pH using something like aloe. You can, aloe by itself, once it dries, you don't really feel the moisture, but you can mix it with a light oil. And is everybody familiar with the carrier oil? Okay, so a carrier oil is basically something that it matches our natural sebum, so it carries the nutrients into your body easier. Something light would be grapeseed oil, almond oil, or olive oil. And this could be blended with the aloe and applied to the scalp, so you're getting the moisture benefits, and then the oil itself is locking that moisture into your hair and scalp. It also works great to smooth your hair without a strong hold. It doesn't leave your hair crunchy. It's not going to give you a tight hold like a gel would, but it's going to smooth flyaways and things like that. It's also great when it's mixed with shea butter or something heavy to kind of lighten the texture. Shea butter is kind of crumbly in its natural state. If you mix it in equal parts, it'll give you a more fluffier texture, and you can also add oils if you don't want to use as much aloe. because aloe can go bad. It is a vegetable type plant, and in the moist or damp environment, it starts to mold. So one good way to combat that, you can go to a natural grocery store and get citric acid and mix it in, or even a teaspoon of vodka. That can help also stop the molding process. It works good for sets when you want to do a twist out or a braid out. It helps define the curl pattern or the wave pattern that you're trying to achieve. You can add it to your shampoos and conditioners that you use normally for an extra boost of moisture. It promotes healthy hair, skin, and nails because it provides elasticity. And what elasticity comes from is elastin, which gives your skin flexibility, and collagen that gives it the ability to go back after it's stretched out to a certain extent. When taken internally, it can help ease constipation, gas, and heartburn. You can buy aloe juice, or you can take a teaspoon of aloe gel straight from the plant. It's also used to treat alopecia because there's an enzyme in aloe called alanine, and it helps stimulate the follicles and enhance hair growth. And it also works well as a cleanser. You can use it to clean your skin if you mix it with the coconut oil, because coconut oil has antifungal properties, but I'll go deeper into that. And then my next favorite thing, this is like the greatest conditioner to me, which is honey. Honey is great because its shelf life is infinite. It doesn't go bad. It may separate, but you can just, excuse me, mix it and go back to using it as normal. It works as a humectant, and what a humectant is, it takes moisture from the natural environment and it draws it to your skin. I don't know if you've ever used a lotion, and when you go outside it's a little humid, it becomes slimy on your skin. That's kind of how the honey works when you're using your hair. I don't suggest leaving it in. I would always rinse it out because honey is sticky. It's not as sticky when using small amounts, but it's still sticky, and there's a lot of dust and things in the air that your hair attracts, especially hair like this. It's like the screen that catches everything. And honey is great for softening the skin and hair. You can mix honey in an oatmeal mask with a little strawberry, paste on your face, and it just gives you a natural moisture, and it helps tighten the skin also. It also has great antibacterial properties, so I've known some people to put it on the burn for a little bit just to help keep away infection. You can also mix it with conditioners. You can mix it with the cholesterol or just your daily conditioner. I know some people get the cheap dollar VO5 or White Rain and mix the honey in it, and it works just as good as the expensive Paul Mitchell's or anything else. It brings dull hair back to life, increasing the shine, and it's also great for treating dandruff. Whenever I do a hollow treatment in the salon, I always add honey to the oil, whether it's coconut oil or olive oil, because like I said, it's great for dandruff and everything. And putting it under the heat keeps it in a more liquid state, and it doesn't, it's not as sticky in the hair. The next thing I like to discuss is apple cider vinegar, and you'll see it abbreviated as ACV on a lot of natural hair blogs. And apple cider vinegar is a more acidic mixture that helps clarify the follicles, hair, and scalp naturally. It helps seal the cuticle. It removes buildup from the hair, and you can use it before shampooing or after shampooing, depending on what benefit you're trying to get from it. If you clarify, you've been using a lot of heavy products with wax and pomades and things, I would suggest cleansing the hair with that. What I do, you know those big dollar cups from McDonald's for the tea? I'll put a teaspoon, a tablespoon of vinegar in there, and just fill it the rest of the way with water, and just run it through my hair and massage it in and let it sit for a few seconds before I shampoo. If you want to use it as basically to add shine and seal the cuticle after conditioning and seal the product into your hair, I would use it after you shampoo and condition and rinse with cool water. That way it's shutting that cuticle down, because warm water causes the cuticle to swell, which causes frizziness. And also, if you're going to do an apple cider vinegar rinse, I would suggest using a fatty oil, something like an avocado oil, coconut oil, or castor oil. It's thick and it's full of omega fatty acids, and it's going to balance that pH, because like I said, the apple cider vinegar is more acidic, and you want to balance and make it more alkaline. And the way to remember, you want to be more alkaline. For example, alkaline is what's in relaxers. That's what straightens the hair. You don't want to straighten your hair, but it softens the cuticle. Relaxer is basically something that over-softens and dissolves the cuticle. Natural alkaline just naturally softens the cuticle, bringing the moisture back. And also, apple cider vinegar helps define curls because, like I said, it does smooth down the cuticle, causing your curls to be able to bunch together and hold the moisture better. Another new thing I tried is beer. I was embarrassed. I went to the gas station. I was trying to explain. I was like, this 40 ounces isn't for me. It's for my hair. They were like, yeah, right. But I went and bought a 40 ounce of beer. I got it cheap, I think Old English for $1. And I twisted it open so the fermentation could come out, the bubbles or whatever. And I left it in my car so it could go flat. I left it overnight in the heat. And basically, after I shampooed and everything, I poured it through my hair. You massage it, and it smells strong, but the odor isn't going to stay if you rinse thoroughly. And that works like apple cider vinegar, except you're getting protein also, because the wheat, barley, and hops that is used to produce this beer is beneficial for your hair and skin. Those are natural proteins. The fermentation makes it work stronger. It helps add to the strength of your hair, and you should dilute the beer. If you do it the first time and it feels kind of strong, you can dilute the beer with water so that your hair won't feel as crispy. Because I noticed my hair was a little crisp, but I have to follow with a good deep conditioner. And like I said, a good fatty oil after using something like beer or apple cider vinegar. Another great thing that I recommend to my clients is castor oil. Everyone knows it as a laxative. Castor oil, it has great hair softening properties, and this also works as a humectant. It draws moisture from the surroundings. But one thing that I warn people about when using castor oil is I only use it on wet hair. If you put a humectant on dry hair, it's going to draw the moisture out of your hair. So you want to already have the moisture in your hair before you put the humectant in. That way it's drawing the moisture that's already in your hair and enhancing the softness. Castor oil is really thick. And so to lighten it up, you can mix it with the light oil, like olive oil or almond oil, like I recommended before. You can also mix it with aloe vera because they work together. Because castor oil works as an antifungal, so it's good for I see a lot of children with little black growths, a lot of yeast in their scalp, because the mothers are saying, I'm only washing their hair once a month or once every 2 weeks. Young girls sweat a lot, they have a lot of hormones, there's a lot going on in their body, their hair needs to be clarified on a regular basis. And with young children, they put their hair everywhere. They're, rubbing heads with other students. They're not as particular about germs and hygiene at a younger age. So castor oil is really good. I recommend for a lot of children who have to do traction alopecia from having too tight ponytails and braids. That follicle is exposed. It lets bacteria in. Children have more yeast in their bodies than older adults, and so that yeast takes over because your body's trying to fight and heal. This skin is trying to shed off to get the bacteria off, but you're not cleansing, so it turns into yeast in the scalp. And it almost looks like a ringworm of the scalp because I see young girls losing hair and patches, especially in the back and the sides where they touch and play in the most. So that's great for younger children who have hair loss problems. But I still, like I said, it's not going to fix it if you're not shampooing regularly and using this product on the scalp. I so recommend it to alopecia clients. Coconut oil is an excellent oil. I use it for my skin and for my hair. It's high in fatty acids, and the thing about coconut oil is it most naturally mimics our natural sebum. If anyone who's used coconut oil sees that it solidifies at room temperature, which is how our natural oil does, which is why we get blackheads and things of that nature. Our body absorbs it better, therefore we get more benefits from that oil as we would another one, because a lot of oils have a chain of proteins, and the chains are different lengths depending on the density of the oil. The density of coconut oil, like I said, matches ours easier, so the chain can go through our hair. Some links are too big, and so they sit on top of our hair, which is something like castor oil, honey, and things like that, which is good for protecting outside. When you want to treat moisture from the inside, you need something with smaller chains that can penetrate your skin and your hair easier. So coconut is the best thing. I use it for pre-shampoo treatments, post-shampoo treatments, just everything. I even take a teaspoon of it. I might mix it in with my oatmeal if I'm cooking something. I put it on my toast instead of butter. It's good to take it inside and out because it has great antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral properties. It's even known in some tropical countries, they use it to treat viral things, flu, HIV, anything that's a viral, because the nutrients in it kind of help strengthen your white blood cells and fight these viruses and things that are attacking your hair. And it also balances pH, like I said, because it mimics our natural sebum the most, and it helps prevent acne. because it has antiviral and antibacterial properties. So when you use it on your skin, it's being absorbed into your follicles with the natural sebum, and it can help fight acne. It's a good moisturizer if you have acne. Yes, ma'am. And when you're getting coconut oil, look for unrefined coconut oil or virgin coconut oil. Coconut oil that's been processed, it's been heated, bleached, strained, everything you want from it has been taken out. The way you can tell whether it's virgin or not is by the smell. It should have that sweet coconut smell to it. If it has no smell, then it's probably not unrefined. Another oil I like is avocado oil, and I use both the oil and the actual fruit. The oil I do mix with my coconut oil for my skin, so that's a good thing for your skin because it's high in the omega fatty acids. And this fruit is actually ranked in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most nutritious fruit that can be used internally and externally. It's high in monosaturated fats and omega fatty acids, and it contains over 20 beneficial nutrients such as vitamins A and B6, which help combat alopecia, vitamin C, E, and K. It hydrates the hair and skin, and it contains almost twice the potassium of a banana. So it's, you'd have to eat probably a whole bunch of bananas just to get the same thing you get from one avocado. It's great when it's used as oil, and it's even better when the fruit itself is used. If you use it as a conditioner, it's always great as a pre-shampoo treatment. I would take the avocado out, and it's best when it's soft. So I get them when they're hard, and I leave them in the kitchen for maybe 4 to 5 days until it's soft and mushy. You peel the skin off, you get the core out, and I have a hand mixer I use because there's little bitty strings of fruit in there, so it can get stuck in your hair. So I use the hand mixer, and those strings get wrapped around the little blender thing, and you can get them all out. But you can use that. You can mix it with the yogurt. Mix mine with yogurt, and I'm going to tell you the benefits of yogurt next. So I mix it with yogurt and honey and coconut oil, and I will put it on my hair. I'll spray my hair with a water bottle, then I'll apply it to my hair and put the shower cap on and leave it on for about an hour and shampoo out, and it's like your hair gets super soft. And I recommend it to people who treat their hair with color or just have a problem with single strand knots and a lot of tangling in their hair. It increases your sheen by sealing your cuticle, and it adds elasticity to your hair. And it's best, I wait for it to almost rot before I use it, where it's not green, it's almost a burnt color. Yogurt. This was also another excellent thing. I get the full-fat yogurt in probably a 32-ounce tub from the grocery store, and it's an excellent tangle. You can add it to a conditioner. You can add it to a conditioner, and it helps. It creates more slip on the hair because there's the alpha hydroxy acids clarify. They take the buildup off of your hair, and it enhances the shine. The lactic acid, which is formed through the fermentation, works as an antibacterial and an antifungal. So it can help to speed up slow hair growth or unhealthy hair growth, because your hair can be growing, but it's growing unhealthy if you have blockage in the follicle. So the hair may be growing, but it's not to its full potential. It may be weaker, thinner than it should be. And like I said, I do mix it with yogurt. I do mix with honey. And you also need to use a fatty oil after using yogurt to balance your pH again. When you use anything acidic that seals the cuticle, you want to follow with a good oil, because that cuticle, when it shuts down, it can't take in as much moisture. So you want to add that moisture before the hair dries and that cuticle is solid and shut all the way. The next thing, of course, everyone knows is this olive oil. It's high in fats and antioxidants, and it softens the hair and adds moisture. It's great for light moisture on the scalp, and I always recommend it for hot oil treatments. It's one of the most accessible oils, and also everyone knows it's the extra virgin. The less processed it is, the better. You want it as close to the natural state as you can get it. Canola oil is also great. This is an oil that my family kept in the kitchen for generations, but it's great because it's high in omega-3 fatty acids, which is things that adds the strength and elasticity to our hair. So using it to cook is good, and also it's good for using in hot oil treatments and things like that, and maybe to thin out the thickness of the shea butter if you want to apply shea butter to your hair. Eggs, everyone knows, it's a great conditioner, but they don't know why, because it's high in protein and sulfur. Sulfur is what makes our hair what it is. Us and Asians have the highest amount of sulfur in our hair than any other race, which is why our hair is the coarsest of any other race. We have three bonds in our hair: a hydrogen bond, a salt bond, and a disulfide bond. That disulfide bond is what causes our cuticle to shut down so tightly and makes our hair curl. And the more that you have in your body, the more that you excrete, because we excrete these things as waste. Hair is just a waste of protein that your body is excreting to protect your hair. So the more your hair gets the last of anything in your body. When you're eating leafy greens, taking a vitamin, it goes to your liver, you're everywhere before it gets to your hair. That's the last place it goes, and of course when you use the restroom, but it comes out as waste. So you want to have extra in your hair. So eating eggs and even using eggs in your hair is good. It also helps combat dandruff and adds strength to the hair. Molasses works great as a humectant. I would add that to maybe an avocado treatment that you're using. The purer the molasses, the more benefits you reap, because as you know, the more something is processed, it takes the natural vitamins out. I also use molasses in henna treatments, and I don't know how many people use henna, but henna is a natural protein. It's a type of a deposit-only protein, so it coats the hair, adding layers of strength to your hair without making it too hard. So molasses works to add that moisture when you're trying to strengthen and add more layers to the hair. And it's also great if you want to gradually darken gray hair. You can leave it on, warm it up, and leave it on your hair for an hour, and do it once a week, and you'll gradually see the tint starting to turn from a reddish color to a brown, and you continue doing so until you receive the color you want. It can only get so dark, but you'll get a good brown color using this. Lemon juice is a great clarifier. The acids are good for the hair and scalp, and a few drops can be added to a rinse, like an apple cider vinegar rinse, or to your shampoo. And it just helps clarify, break up all the oils in your hair. If you want to naturally lift your hair because you want a deposit color and you don't want to use bleach and things like that on your hair, you can put it on your hair and stand in the warmth. It doesn't have to be sunny, hot, but as long as you're in the sun and receiving those UV rays, it'll naturally lift your hair. It's going to take longer than if you're using a chemical, but it's a gentler way to go about it. And also, if you're using lemon juice, follow with the fatty oil, because it's an acid, it can strip your natural oil. Mayonnaise. Everyone knows mayonnaise is great as a pre-shampoo treatment, and some people even add it to their shampoo because it's high in fatty acids because of all the eggs and different oils that's in there, and it helps prevent breakage. If you have a lot of heat damage or just breakage period from styling, overcombing, and things like that, it slows the breakage by adding the strength and elasticity. The last thing I want to discuss is banana. It's a good protein treatment and good gentle protein treatment. I recommend this instead of henna for people with more fine hair. The finer your hair is, if you use too much protein, it can work against you and just shatter your hair. You can use very ripe banana, but I suggest everyone get banana baby food because it's already ripe, it's been strained, there's no seeds and the little strings and things in there. It's rich in all the beneficial acids and potassium, and it's rich in vitamins A, B, and C. I would mix banana baby food probably with yogurt and the avocado treatment. You don't want to mix too many things. You just have to look at what your hair needs and trial and error and mix. I wouldn't mix more than 4 things at a time because then you don't know what's really helping your hair. This can be used on the hair and the skin. It can be used in facial treatments and things like that. And it softens and strengthens the hair shaft, and it improves elasticity and smooths down split ends. And everyone knows there's no treatment for split ends besides trimming them, but you can help prevent them or keep them from becoming worse until you can't get to them. And that's it, my presentation. Did anyone have any questions? Okay, I'll start here and go around.
Just wondering if you have any send out that information, or can we access it on?
Yes, actually I have a blog. If you have a pen, it's www.hairgarden. I'll make sure. I have cards, so I'll hand cards out to everyone. Hairgarden.wordpress.com. And I'll hand cards out to everyone. I'll go ahead.